while I was sitting here listening to you, it struck me that in each one of the countries you come from, I've actually had the direct experience of working with or knowing somebody who would be a great woman role model. In 4 of your countries, Jamaica, Indonesia, Slovenia, Norway, I've had the privilege of working with women foreign ministers as my counterpart. Your current minister is one of my closest friends. Your previous minister, Retno Marsudi, like Kamina Johnson-Smith, these were among my closest colleagues. So I've had a chance in a way to work with them to kind of respect the contributions that they've made. In 2 countries, Ethiopia and Tanzania, I've actually called on the previous president in Ethiopia and the current president in Tanzania. And in Qatar, of course, we know the social and philanthropic leadership of Her Highness's Foundation. So in each one of your countries, there are actually very powerful role models, and I think, in a way, best practices are something which clearly have a relevance in that field. Now, I do believe that women make great diplomats, very good leaders, and we will have the privilege later in the afternoon of listening to a leader role model from India, which is our own very president, who is from the great state of Orissa. Now, when it comes to diplomats, it's interesting. I was looking at the Indian Foreign Service, and I found that actually there's been a very significant uptick in the number of women who've joined the Foreign Service. And when I look at the last 10 years, since 2014, women are actually 36.3% of the total diplomats, the Indian Foreign Service officers who've joined. I am confident those numbers would be higher. Now, having said that, I think many of the, the points you made, the confidence, the inner strength, the responsibility, the mental, the fortitude, the multitasking, and most of all, the ability to shape family thinking. So I think one of the suggestions which we heard from the floor, why it is important to teach your sons also to respect women. This is, by the way, an advice given publicly by Prime Minister Modi from the ramparts of the Red Fort. He once said, how often do you ask your sons where they were late in the evening? So I think these are really societal debates, changes we are going through. The panel debated, what recommendations would you give? I think they are before us. I mean, clearly today, again, I look at our own last decade. Among the changes, I spoke about the changes in terms of the ground changes. But look in terms of the policy and the impact changes. Today we have women officers in 12 arms and services of the Indian military. That is a big change. I mean, you are the daughter of a service officer, so you would appreciate what it means. Or you look at political leadership. The question was raised that I have to go to Zilla Panchayat, I have to go to a legislative assembly, I have to go to parliaments. Now, for us, the passing of the Nari Shakti Adhinayam, where 33% reservation is guaranteed, this will bring about a change. Or if one looks today at entrepreneurship, that when we say, we talk of Lakpati Didi, we talk of Mudra, we talk of Swanidhi loan programs, unsecured programs to allow women entrepreneurship, the number of women who actually availed of loans under Stand Up India, I think, exceeds 70%. So how do we encourage them to get into public life? How do we encourage greater entrepreneurship? But most of all, sitting next to you, how do they actually bring their talents to bear on technology? Creation of technology, but also deployment of technology. So, it's interesting. We have a program called Drone Didi. Drone Didi is to teach young women how to operate drones so that in the villages, they are actually able to use drones to sort of contribute to agricultural performance. So my concluding remarks, even though I'm sitting next to you, is Nari Shakti is not rocket science. Nari Shakti should be an attitude, it should be a belief, it should be internalized, but I'm sure a rocket scientist can actually inspire us most of all in Nari Shakti.
Thank you so much, sir. You are the huge inspiration for all of us. Let me say that. And yes, with the final words, what I would like to say, Indian women diaspora representing a dynamic blend of tradition and modernity, making invaluable contributions to the global stage while staying deeply rooted in their heritage. So all of your achievements, not only enhance India's global image, but also inspires millions of women worldwide to dream big and break barriers. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much. It's my honor and privilege to be part of this wonderful session. I'll request our Honorable Minister to start the session with his opening remarks.
First of all, a very good morning to all of you, and I want to say at this PBD, for me, it is a matter of particular satisfaction to be able to join this panel on Diaspora Divas celebrating women's leadership and influence. Now, some of you would be wondering, what am I doing on this panel? Now, I do want to say that under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, actually a number of issues pertaining to gender equality, to women development, etc., are very much a part of our international activities and foreign policy as well. In fact, when we chaired the G20, we pushed very strongly for the concept of women-led development and got it accepted in the G20 conceptual framework, and thereafter we actually pushed for it very strongly when the Summit of the Future took place as well. Secondly, we do a lot of development cooperation, especially with countries of the Global South. We are present in different ways through projects and capacity building in 78 countries of the Global South. And in many of them, actually, our projects target, gender-sensitive issues, women's equality, opportunities for them. So I do want to say this is very much built into our foreign policy, and therefore it's for me a great source of satisfaction to be sitting here with all of you. Just want to share a few other thoughts. When you look at it, in a way, we are talking about a set of challenges which are truly age-old, which unfortunately are often deeply percolated into our culture and traditions. So when we seek today to progress, we are addressing not challenges which are obvious and simple, but things which are very deeply ingrained in society and therefore that much harder really to overcome. So it starts at birth, nutrition, health, education. Basically it becomes an issue of who has, in a way, a claim on the resources of the family, and that is where actually the deepest discrimination is practiced. And then, of course, it spills over into the workplace, into opportunities, and all of you would know it far better than I would ever do. Now, we are today also gathered with a larger theme of Viksit Bharat. Now, you cannot have Viksit Bharat, you cannot progress towards Viksit Bharat if you don't address this issue. Because, this is at least 50% of what the challenge is. That until we are able to deal with many of this, I would say, traditional, historical, societal attitudes, if India is to become a modern, industrial, tech-centric society, then we cannot neglect 50% of our talent. We cannot deprive them of opportunities or shortchange them in many ways. So I leave all of you to discuss this in further, but I do want to say that role models, why when I look at the term divas, role models actually have a powerful motivational impact on society. That people look at them as role models and tell themselves consciously or unconsciously that if they can do it, we can do it. And the challenge for any society is to make role models eventually into trends. That if they are replicated, if they are internalized, if they are normalized, then they actually have a transformational impact on society. And before I conclude, I just want, again, because many of you come to India perhaps with gaps in your visits. Some of you may be here for the first time, some of you have been here before. So I also want to give you a snapshot, really, of the changes in this domain over the last decade. And allow me to share, some of these facts. I mean, the improvement in the national sex ratio, for example, the paid maternity leave for 26 weeks, the fact that 300 million, 30 crore Mudra Yojana loans have been given out to women entrepreneurs, that 43% of the enrollment today in STEM is of girls, that 28% has been the increase in the female enrollment in higher education, that 32 million Sukanya Samriddhi, accounts have been opened up for education, that 100 million smoke-free kitchens today, 100 million smoke-free kitchens, just think about it. Or that, when there is a housing scheme called Awas, under which 40 million homes have been built and handed over. And 72% of them have women ownership, either as sole ownership or as joint ownership. So I'm mentioning this because, when we think of progress, of modernity, of a march towards Viksit Bharat, one metric of measuring it is GDP. How many roads have you built? How many metros? How many cities? How many airports? Yes, that is certainly a way of measuring. But that is superficial until we address the human side of that progress. And to my mind today, these are really some of the powerful changes which are happening in India. But like any change, as I said, they require role models, they require inspirations, they require divas.